Hello everyone to this video about the LCK 2017 Spring Split Grand Final. It's going to be between KT Rolster and SK Telecom T1. And I mean, KT Rolster, they are a team that I'm really looking out for in this tournament, because we have to keep in mind that I do not think that they had like the best path to the grand final. They had some problems on their way, like when they played against MVP. They didn't look that convincing. Like, they did win over MVP, but it just seemed like they had a lot of troubles winning over them. Like, they weren't the best in terms of the early game. They lost the early game quite a lot. And they only just won because of them being able to farm a bit better. Like when they say that they lost the early game, it's because MVP, they were able to dictate the map so hard. They were able to make plays everywhere. They were able to get different objectives from time to time too. So that means that KT also, they never really were able to do that much in the early game, but to farm, because they couldn't control the map, and therefore they ended up just winning because of them being better in the mid game. Like, traditionally they are better in the early game, but they couldn't do anything in that series, so they were forced to look towards the mid game, which they just then kind of took control over. And because of them just farming for the most of the game, they did take control over the mid game and succeeded there, and won 2-0 against MVP. Then coming into the Samsung Galaxy game or series, as you can call it, against and KT also coming in against them, I did expect Samsung Galaxy to win. I really thought that Samsung Galaxy, they looked so good in the last few weeks of the LCK that there was a possibility for them to become that second best team in Korea once again. Well, at least like something like last season. Like, they weren't the second best team. They were the third seeded, but they actually did fairly well in my opinion. They didn't do bad at all, and now they just gained a lot of control, and KT also, they fell apart, didn't look that good anymore. Now Samsung, they forfeited the early game against KT Rolster, and I said earlier on that KT Rolster, they aren't a traditional mid-game team. They traditionally likes to play the early game even more, and they took control of the early game in that series against Samsung, so they were able to just win very convincingly against them, and then force themselves away into the grand final. Again, against my predictions, I thought that they certainly would lose that game, but KT also, of course, but KT also just didn't do so, and that meant that now they are into the grand final against SK Telecom, a team that, of course, everybody are expecting to win. Nobody are expecting KT Rolster to, well, maybe some are expecting KT Rolster to win, but KT Rolster, they just look so weak, and if we have to see them win here against Samsung Galaxy, SK Telecom T1, then we have to see them move above and beyond their current form. They need to be able to go on a mission like a possessed man. They need to pop off, basically, because they certainly haven't been able to do so in the last few games. And I think I saw a tweet from Last Shadow, like LS, the color commentator from Spro TV, and he said that the series is like watching a Dragon Ball Z episode. Like, you know Goku will win, but he's always having a hard time. And this will probably be the same. Like, we know how dominant SK Telecom have looked throughout the series, the season. in not season, the split in LCK. Like, they've been so good, been able to do tons of work everywhere, and like, if they can keep this up, then it'll surely be good for them, because I do truly believe that they are in a better form than KT Rolster. KT Rolster just been looking so weak, and that means that SK Telecom will certainly be the favorites going into this series against the KT Rolster. Will it be a 3-0 sweep? I'm not quite sure. It's hard to predict, because obviously KT Rolster, they have a great coaching staff. They have people who can help them getting back into shape. But then again, like, SK Telecom, they are known to dominate series. Like, that's the thing. They are known to be so good. Like, if we just take a look at their records, they've won over Rocks Tigers in this season 5 World Championship. That was a 3-0. They won against Royal Club 3-0. They've won against Samsung Galaxy 3-2. So they are a very dominating team overall. And I do think that a problem for KT Rolster will be for them to have Smeb come out ahead, because I do think they ride a fairly high wave in terms of, are Smeb ahead, or is he not ahead? Because I think that we've seen multiple times that if Smeb are falling behind or is having a hard time, the rest of the KT Rolster team are having a hard time too. Because one thing that I do believe is that Pawn isn't the best mid laner. I feel like he's had a lot of struggles throughout the split, and he gains a lot of freedom in the mid lane whenever Smeb does well, because that means that Score will usually also do well, because that means that if the top lane is doing well, then the jungler from their opponents will be forced to go up there and help whoever Smeb is laning against, which means the Pawn will get freedom in on the map, and Score will gain freedom on the map. Overall, I do think that it'll be probably a close series, like we've seen earlier on. I do think that KT Rolster, they will be able to move back and form a little bit. Will they be able to contest SK Telecom? That's the question. I do think that someone like Depth and Martha in the bottom lane are quite good. In the mid lane, Pawn is probably better than Faker. Pawn is probably worse than Faker. That's what I meant to say. It's definitely not better than Faker. And in the top side, it can go both ways. So it's going to be a very interesting series to watch. Like, I do think that if SK Telecom win, they will do it on the fact that they are just better as a collective, as a team, because I do think that is probably their strength. So my prediction coming into this series will be probably 3-1 for SK Telecom. I do think that they will come out ahead. They are a better team than KT Rolster, and the way that we've seen KT Rolster off lately haven't been that good, haven't been that strong, and that is something that they have to improve on.